Alien Princess thought her human escort was worthless until he silenced 12 assassins. Princess Elira stood on the balcony of the royal palace, looking down at the sparkling city below. Her home planet, Valora, was bright and clean. Towering buildings shone under the twin suns. The streets were busy with citizens preparing for the upcoming summit. Leaders from many worlds would arrive soon, and Elira was to represent her people. She was young, only 23, but proud and confident. Many in the royal court admired her beauty and her sharp mind. But she had one problem she did not expect. The council had assigned her a human escort, a single human. Elira could hardly believe it. Humans were new to the galactic community. Many aliens thought they were weak, slow, fragile. Their technology was primitive compared to most advanced races. And yet, here was a human being sent to protect the princess. His name was Ethan Cole. Elira had met him once before in the palace hall. He was not tall or muscular like the alien warriors she was used to. His hair was brown and unremarkable. His clothes were simple. He carried no visible weapons, only a small communicator clipped to his belt. He smiled politely but did not boast. He did not try to impress anyone. Elira felt a hot wave of irritation. How could the council think this human was enough to protect her? Her personal guards were trained in the deadliest forms of combat in the galaxy. They wore strong armor, had plasma blades, and could react faster than any human could imagine. This human could barely lift a sword, she thought. "Your Highness," Ethan said quietly when he approached her, "I am here to follow your orders and keep you safe." Elira looked at him, barely hiding her scorn. "Keep me safe, you? From what? A cat fight in the market," she said. Her voice carried across the hall, sharp and full of disbelief. Ethan bowed slightly. "I assure you, Princess, I have been trained. Please allow me to do my duty." She waved her hand. "Duty? You look like a waiter, not a guard. I don't need your protection." "My guards are more than enough." Ethan did not reply. He simply nodded and stepped back, letting her go about her day. The next morning, preparations for the summit began in earnest. Ships from different worlds arrived at the spaceport. Some were sleek and silver, others bulky and dark. Alien ambassadors moved with confidence, speaking in sharp, clear voices. Elira watched from a high platform, standing beside her human escort. The alien guards around her moved like a single machine. Their armor shone in the sunlight. Their weapons were ready. They practiced formations and drills. Everything seemed perfect. Elira glanced at Ethan. He stood quietly near the edge of the platform, observing. He did not rush to impress anyone. He did not complain. He did not draw attention. She shook her head. How could anyone think he was capable of anything? Days passed as the summit approached. Elira traveled between different halls and meeting rooms. The humans were different from other aliens. They were smaller, yes, but they moved with confidence. They smiled easily. They looked around carefully, noticing small details. Ethan followed her everywhere, silent but attentive. Sometimes she caught him studying the crowd or the floor layout. "What are you doing?" she asked one morning. "Just observing, Princess," he replied simply. Elira rolled her eyes. "Observing? You should be standing near me, not staring at the floor. My guards are the ones who handle observation." Ethan said nothing. He did not argue. He simply followed his duty, and that irritated Elira more. One evening she sat in the royal garden, watching the twin suns set. The sky turned orange and pink, and the flowers glowed under the soft light. Ethan stood a few steps behind her, his hands folded. "I still don't understand why the council sent you," Elira said finally. She sighed. "A human is not strong enough to face even a small threat here." Ethan looked at her, his eyes calm. "Strength is not always what you see, Princess." Elira frowned. "What do you mean?" "My guards are strong. They can fight better than any human. I do not need your help." "Perhaps, Princess," he said quietly, "but sometimes being quiet, watching, and understanding is more powerful than strength." Elira scoffed. You speak in riddles. I have no time for riddles. That night the palace was quiet. The halls were lit by soft lights. Ethan walked slowly through the corridors, checking doors and exits. He did not rush. He did not need to. He knew that danger could come in silence without warning. Meanwhile, Alira's guards were busy practicing drills. They laughed at the idea of a human being able to help. One alien captain even said, "A human, protecting a princess. I have never heard such nonsense." Ethan overheard nothing. He simply moved on, checking each hallway carefully. He knew the summit would attract attention, both friendly and dangerous. And humans, despite appearances, were trained to notice things others did not. The next day, the princess prepared to leave for the spaceport. The summit was to begin soon, and she was expected to arrive in style. Shimmering ships awaited her. Alien guards lined the path, ready to escort her safely. Ethan fell in step beside her as she walked down the golden hall. She glanced at him, feeling the familiar irritation. He was calm, almost invisible among the flashy aliens. "You know," she said, "if anything happens, it will be a disaster. No human can protect me in this world." Ethan kept his eyes forward. "I will do my best, princess." Her lips curled in a smile, but it was sharp, not kind. "Your best is not enough. Watch carefully, human. You are about to see what real protection looks like." The ride to the summit station was smooth. Ships glided over the clouds. The city below disappeared into a blur of lights. Alira sat in her private cabin looking out at the stars. She felt proud of herself and her guards. Nothing could touch them. Nothing could touch her. Ethan sat quietly across the cabin, not speaking. He reviewed plans, exits, and security data on a small device. He did not brag. He did not complain, he simply prepared. Alira watched him for a moment, wondering why he did not seem nervous. "Do you even feel fear?" she asked. Ethan looked at her. "Fear is natural, but fear is not always weakness. It can make a person careful, alert, ready." Alira shook her head. "Careful is not enough. Strength matters. You will see soon." They arrived at the summit station the next morning. Aliens from hundreds of worlds filled the corridors. The air was tense with excitement and expectation. Alira walked proudly, flanked by her guards. Ethan remained close, scanning the crowd. No one noticed him. No one thought he mattered. Alira smirked. She believed her words were true. A human could never match the alien warriors. She looked around the station and saw nothing to worry about. Everything seemed perfect. But Ethan noticed small things. A shadow moving where no one should be. A glance that seemed too sharp. A group of beings standing too close to a restricted entrance. He remembered every detail, every small sign of danger, and he waited patiently, quietly. Alira did not notice. She continued her preparations, unaware that the real test was about to begin. The summit station was enormous. It stretched over kilometers of space with shining corridors and giant glass windows. Ships from dozens of planets floated outside, docking in perfect formation. Inside, alien leaders moved with purpose, speaking loudly in languages that echoed through the halls. The humans were few in number, but their presence was not ignored. Princess Alira walked proudly through the main hall, her alien guards surrounding her. She moved with confidence, waving to the arriving delegates. Her eyes scanned the crowd, but she saw only formality, ceremony, and the usual pomp of diplomacy. She did not see danger. Ethan Cole walked just behind her, his eyes scanning every detail. He noticed things others ignored. A small crack in the wall near a side entrance. A flicker of movement in a corridor that should have been empty. A shadow slipping past a security checkpoint. Alira noticed his attention. She raised an eyebrow. "You watch too much," she said, her voice carrying over the footsteps of the guards. "Everything is fine. Relax." Humans are too nervous about nothing. Ethan did not respond immediately. He continued scanning, his calm gaze taking in every corner, every opening. "Sometimes, princess, danger hides where no one expects it," he said quietly. Illyra turned and frowned. Danger. This station is protected by the strongest guards in the galaxy. Nothing can touch us, not even the worst criminals. Ethan stayed silent. He had learned long ago that humans often underestimated what they could not see. The galaxy was full of surprises, and humans were trained to survive them. Over the next few hours, the summit began. Delegates moved from hall to hall, discussing trade, alliances, and security treaties. Illyra sat in the main chamber, smiling politely at everyone who approached her. She felt proud. She felt safe. Her alien guards were ready. Her human escort, well, he was there too, looking quiet and useless as ever. But Ethan noticed small things. A delegate who kept glancing at her with interest, but not the friendly kind. A maintenance droid that lingered too long near a restricted access panel. A janitor who carried a small case that hummed strangely. He followed each small sign in his mind, building a map of possible threats. He did not panic. Humans trained for this. Observation and patience were just as important as weapons. By the afternoon, the crowd grew thicker. Alien diplomats mingled and strange creatures from other planets moved through the corridors. Some had long arms, some had sharp claws, and some glowed with energy. Illyra walked proudly through the corridors, waving and smiling. She felt untouchable. Her guards moved with precision, their armor shining. The humans around her were polite, cautious, and careful. But she paid little attention to Ethan, who kept a few steps behind her, scanning, observing, and remembering. "Are you certain we are safe?" she asked at one point, her voice slightly curious. "Yes, Princess," Ethan said, "for now, but we must remain alert." Illyra frowned. "Alert? My guards are the best in the galaxy. We are not in danger. You humans worry too much." Ethan said nothing. He had learned long ago that warnings were useless until action was needed. Later, she moved into a quieter hall to meet a small delegation from a nearby planet. The room was smaller, with soft lighting and a single platform in the center. Alien guards stood at the corners, their weapons ready. Ethan noticed movement near the ventilation system above. 12 small figures slipped along the shadows, moving in perfect silence. They were assassins, trained killers, invisible to everyone else. Each of them carried a weapon, small but deadly, and each had a target in mind. Ethan did not panic. He had trained for this. Humans were taught to handle situations where strength alone was not enough. He memorized their positions, counted their numbers, and planned his approach. Illyra, meanwhile, noticed nothing. She spoke with the alien delegates, laughing politely at jokes she barely understood. She waved at her guards, confident that nothing could go wrong. One of the assassins reached the corner of the room and peeked around the wall. Their eyes found the princess immediately. They whispered to each other and moved in closer, confident they would strike before anyone noticed. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He stepped slightly forward, invisible in the shadows. He did not speak. He did not move in a way that would attract attention. He simply waited. Time slowed in his mind as he observed each movement. The first assassin raised a small blade. Another adjusted a dart launcher. A third carried a short-range energy gun. All 12 were skilled. All 12 were silent. All 12 believed no one could stop them. Illyra turned to greet another delegate. "Ethan," she said casually, "are you sure you are not imagining danger? Everything looks fine." He did not answer. His eyes stayed on the shadows, on the small movements of the assassins. "Princess," he said quietly, "we have company you cannot see." Illyra looked at him, annoyed. "What nonsense are you speaking? Guards, do you see anything?" The alien guards shook their heads. They saw nothing. They were confident in their skills. Ethan stepped slightly to the side, moving silently toward the first assassin. His hands were steady. His mind was calm. Each step was measured, precise. Humans were taught to move without noise. Humans were trained to use their environment. Humans were trained to survive when others could not. The first assassin turned, expecting to find no one there. A sudden pressure behind their shoulder made them stumble. A quick twist of the arm and they fell silently to the ground, unconscious before they could scream. The second assassin noticed, but it was too late. Ethan moved with speed and precision, disabling them one by one. He used simple tools, his strength where needed, and his calm focus to take them down. Illyra, still speaking with the delegates, did not notice anything unusual. Her guards continued to watch the room, unaware of the danger above. By the time the last assassin moved forward, Ethan had already neutralized half of them. The remaining 6 moved carefully, sensing something was wrong. But Ethan was faster, smarter, quieter. Each move he made was deliberate, precise, and deadly. In less than a minute, all 12 assassins were silenced. Not a single alarm had been raised. Not a single guard had noticed the fight. Not a single civilian was hurt. Illyra turned slightly, feeling a strange tension in the air. She glanced at Ethan, who stood calmly near the side of the room. "Why do you look so calm?" she whispered. Ethan did not answer. He simply adjusted his posture and continued observing the hall. Later, when the room was empty, Illyra walked through the corridors and noticed something unusual. A faint trail of movement, signs that someone had been there. She frowned, looking around. "Ethan," she asked softly, "did something happen?" He shook his head slightly. "Everything is fine, Princess. The danger has passed." Illyra's mind raced. She felt a strange mix of fear and confusion. How could a human, this quiet and unarmed human, handle 12 trained assassins without anyone noticing? How could he move so fast, so silently, and protect her without using a single visible weapon? She wanted to ask him more, but Ethan simply walked beside her, calm, quiet, and steady. He did not boast. He did not show pride. He did not even let her see the effort it took. Later that evening, Illyra sat alone in her private cabin, thinking. She had watched her guards, the elite warriors of the galaxy, fail to notice anything. And yet this human who had seemed so useless had done what no one else could. She could not admit it yet. She could not say that humans were capable, but a small part of her mind whispered a truth she had not known before. Perhaps humans were stronger than they appeared. Ethan entered quietly, bowing slightly. "Princess, the summit will continue tomorrow. You are safe." Illyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. "Safe," she said. "Are you certain?" He nodded. "Yes, Princess, you are safe." She wanted to argue. She wanted to say that humans could not compare to alien strength. But deep inside she felt doubt. Doubt about her own judgments. Doubt about the creatures she had dismissed so easily. The night passed quietly. The stars outside glowed like tiny diamonds. The summit station was peaceful again. But Illyra knew, somewhere in the shadows, danger had existed. And somewhere in the shadows, the human who had saved her waited silently, watching, protecting, and ready for anything. For the first time, she began to wonder if perhaps humans were not as weak as she had always believed. The next morning, the summit station was busy again. Delegates from many worlds moved through the halls, laughing and talking, showing off their ideas and technologies. Princess Illyra walked with her head high, her alien guards surrounding her. Everything seemed calm and peaceful. Ethan Cole walked just behind her, calm and quiet, eyes scanning the crowd. He noticed details no one else saw. A shadow in the corner, a slight movement near a pillar, and the faint hum of devices that did not belong. His instincts told him that the danger was close, very close. Illyra smiled at the passing delegates. She felt safe. Her alien guards were strong, armed, and skilled. She barely looked at Ethan, who she still thought was useless. Then it began. From the shadows, 12 assassins moved as one. They were fast, trained, and silent. Each of them carried small but deadly weapons. Their target was clear, Princess Illyra. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He had already noticed their approach, had counted their numbers, and had already planned his response. Humans were trained to handle situations like this. Humans did not rely on strength alone. They used skill, speed, and intelligence. The first assassin moved forward, aiming for the princess. Ethan stepped silently to the side. In one smooth motion, he grabbed the assassin's wrist, twisted it, and sent the attacker sprawling to the floor. The assassin tried to strike, but Ethan was faster. A quick move, a push, and the attacker was unconscious before anyone could notice. The second assassin fired a small energy dart. Ethan ducked, rolled, and grabbed a nearby railing. Using it to swing, he kicked the assassin hard, sending the weapon clattering to the floor. The assassin tried to strike back, but Ethan moved again, precise and calm. Another unconscious enemy fell silently. Elira turned slightly, sensing movement but seeing nothing. "What was that?" she whispered. Her guards were distracted by the delegates and had not noticed the attackers. Ethan did not answer. He continued moving with precision, disabling assassin after assassin. He used quick strikes, blocks, and throws, all without raising alarm. He was calm, confident, and deadly. Each movement was measured. Each step was perfect. The third and fourth assassins rushed together. They thought two humans could be handled easily, but Ethan used their speed against them. He sidestepped one, pulled the other forward, and both fell to the floor in a single motion. He did not shout. He did not scream. The fight was silent. Elira's eyes widened. Something was happening, though she could not see it clearly. Her guards noticed small movements in the corner of their vision, but dismissed them. They could not believe a human could be capable of handling 12 skilled assassins. The fifth assassin tried to grab her directly. He moved quickly, aiming to strike before Ethan could react. But Ethan was already there. He intercepted the attack in a smooth motion, disarming the assassin and pushing him down. The weapon rolled across the floor, unnoticed by everyone else. The other assassins regrouped, realizing that the human was not what he seemed. They moved carefully, trying to trap him. But Ethan was always one step ahead. He used the environment, the railings, the walls, the shadows, to his advantage. He used simple tools nearby, his fists, his legs, and his intelligence. Every move was precise, silent, and effective. Elira began to notice something strange. She felt a presence, a force moving through the crowd, but she could not see it. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice shaky, "what is happening?" He did not answer. He moved again, taking down two more assassins who thought they were clever. They fell without a sound. The remaining assassins panicked. They had never met a human like this. They had trained for years, studied for years, and yet one human was faster, smarter, and stronger than all of them combined. Ethan moved through the hall like a shadow. Each assassin who came near him fell in seconds. One by one, they were silenced. His movements were calm, almost graceful like a dancer, but deadly. Elira watched now, her mouth slightly open. She had never seen anything like this. Her alien guards were skilled, yes, but even they would have been overwhelmed by 12 assassins. Yet this single human moved quietly and efficiently, neutralizing every threat without anyone noticing. The last assassin tried to flee. He ran toward a side corridor, hoping to regroup or find help. Ethan followed silently. In a few quick steps, he blocked the path and disarmed the attacker. With a careful push, the assassin fell unconscious. The hall was now completely silent. No alarms had sounded. No delegates had been harmed. No one had noticed the fight. Everything appeared calm and peaceful, exactly as before. Elira stepped closer, her eyes wide. She saw Ethan standing calmly in the middle of the hall, not a single scratch on him, not a single drop of blood on the floor. He looked ordinary, quiet, and calm, as if nothing had happened. She finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "Ethan, what just happened?" He looked at her calmly. 12 assassins tried to attack Princess. They are no longer a threat." Elira's mind struggled to understand. 12, and you alone?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, Princess, they will not bother you again." Her guards arrived, finally noticing the fallen assassins scattered in the shadows. They looked shocked and angry. "What happened here?" one asked. "Who did this?" Ethan said nothing. He simply looked at the fallen attackers, calm and collected. The alien guards looked at him in disbelief. A single human had neutralized 12 trained killers before they could even act. Alira felt a mixture of fear, awe, and respect. For the first time, she saw humans in a new light. They were quiet, they were calm, they were underestimated, and they were deadly. She took a step closer. "Ethan, I did not believe it was possible." He shrugged slightly. "Humans are trained to survive, Princess. We act when needed, quietly and efficiently." Alira stared at him. She had always thought humans were weak, fragile, and useless in battle, but now she saw the truth. Humans were different. They were clever. They were patient. They were dangerous in ways that no alien could understand until they faced them. Her pride began to shift. She had laughed at him, mocked him, and ignored him. Now she realized that she had been wrong. This human, who had seemed so ordinary, had saved her life and perhaps the lives of everyone in the hall. The delegates and guards were still in shock. They had not seen the fight, but they could see the results. 12 assassins, all neutralized, all without alarm. The human had done the impossible. Alira felt a deep respect growing inside her. She stepped closer to Ethan. I may have judged you too quickly," she said quietly. He simply nodded. "It is not unusual, Princess. Many do not understand humans until it is too late." She looked around at the hall, the fallen assassins, the shocked guards. "I see that now," she said. "I see that humans are not weak." Ethan's eyes remained calm. "We are not, Princess, but we do not fight for pride. We fight to protect. That is what matters." Alira felt a strange warmth in her chest. She realized that she had underestimated more than just him. She had underestimated humanity itself. Quiet, clever, patient, and deadly humans could survive in ways that even the strongest alien warriors might fail. The hall slowly returned to normal. Delegates continued their discussions, unaware of what had happened. The assassins were removed silently, and security was increased without raising suspicion. Alira walked beside Ethan, her thoughts racing. She could no longer see him as weak or useless. He was her protector, he was human, and humans were more than she had ever imagined. That night in her private cabin, Alira could not stop thinking about the events of the day. 12 assassins, 1 human, silence, skill, calm. She had watched even from a distance, and she knew that if Ethan had not been there, things would have been very different. Ethan entered her cabin quietly. "Princess, are you well?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, thanks to you. I do not know what to say." "You do not need to say anything," he replied. "I only do my duty." Alira studied him carefully. She had thought she knew the galaxy, its strengths and its weaknesses. But now she realized that humans were different. They were underestimated. They were clever, patient, and capable of things no one expected. For the first time, she felt a sense of trust, a sense that she could rely on someone entirely, even a human. She said softly, "Tomorrow, I want you to stay close. I think the summit may still hold surprises." Ethan nodded silently. "I will be there, Princess, always." Alira watched him leave. She could not help but feel a growing respect. He had saved her life. He had proven her wrong. And in doing so, he had changed the way she would see humans forever. The summit station was quiet again. The day had passed, and the delegates had continued their discussions as if nothing had happened. But Princess Alira could not shake the memory of what she had seen. 12 trained assassins, all neutralized in complete silence by 1 human, Ethan Cole. She walked through the hallways, her steps slow, thinking. Her alien guards were still on alert, but they looked uneasy. None of them had understood what had happened, and none of them had expected a human to succeed in such a situation. Alira stopped near a window, looking out at the stars. She had always thought she knew the galaxy. She had always believed that humans were weak, fragile, and incapable, but today had changed everything. She felt a mix of fear, awe, and curiosity. Ethan appeared beside her quietly. "Princess," he said, "you seem troubled." I do not know what to think," she admitted. "You did what no one else could. How did you do it?" Ethan looked out the window with her, calm and steady. "I am trained, Princess. Humans are not as strong as some aliens, but we are careful, patient, and we think. We act when needed. Strength is not only in muscles or weapons. It is in understanding, in timing, in calmness." Alira nodded slowly. She wanted to believe it, but it felt strange. All her life she had relied on strength, on skill, and on her elite guards. And now she realized that strength alone was not enough. Humans had other strengths, quiet and unseen, that could save lives in ways that brute force could not. She turned to him. "Do your people, all humans, fight like this?" Ethan shook his head. "No, Princess, not all. But we train to survive, to protect, to act when others cannot. That is what matters." Alira was silent. She did not know how to respond. She felt a strange humility, a feeling she had never experienced before. She had laughed at him, mocked him, and doubted him. And now she understood that she had been completely wrong. Later, the Alien Security Council gathered to discuss the events of the day. They had reviewed the surveillance records and found 12 assassins incapacitated in a matter of seconds. They could not believe it. How could a single human handle such a threat? "Impossible," one of the captains said angrily. "No human could do this. Someone must have helped." Ethan entered quietly and observed. He did not argue. He had no need to. The proof was clear, and the council would soon realize the truth. Alira stepped forward. "It is true," she said firmly. "One human, Ethan Cole, handled all 12 assassins. He did it alone, silently, without anyone being harmed. It was remarkable." The council members stared at her. Some looked angry, some shocked, and some confused. Humans were known for being fragile and weak, but here was undeniable proof that one human had done what 12 elite assassins could not accomplish. One council member, an older alien with green scales and sharp eyes, spoke. "Are you saying that one human, was able to protect the princess against trained assassins? This defies all logic." Alira met his gaze. "It is true. I saw it. He is not weak. Humans are clever, patient, and dangerous when needed. I underestimated them. I underestimated him. And I was wrong." The council murmured among themselves. They had expected to see heroism from the alien guards, from their most skilled warriors. But now the proof was in front of them. Humans could not be dismissed. Humans could not be ignored. Ethan spoke quietly, his voice calm and even. "I only acted to protect the princess. That is all. Humans do not seek glory. We act to save, to survive, and to protect." Alira looked at him, her respect growing. She could not hide it anymore. "Ethan," she said softly, "I owe you more than I can say. You saved my life today, and perhaps the lives of many others as well." Ethan nodded. "It was my duty, Princess, that is all." Alira thought about the days leading up to the summit. She remembered how she had ignored him, mocked him, and doubted him. She remembered the quiet way he had followed her, observed everything, and prepared without complaint. And she realized how foolish she had been. "You were remarkable today," she admitted. "I cannot believe I thought you were useless. I judged you too quickly." Ethan's expression remained calm. "Judgment is easy, Princess. Actions are harder. Humans act when it matters most." Alira smiled slightly, a small but genuine smile. "Then I have much to learn about your kind, and about you." The next day, the summit continued. Alira stayed close to Ethan, no longer dismissing him. She noticed how his eyes always scanned the room, how his mind worked silently to protect her, and how calm he remained even in chaos. She could see that his skill was not just in fighting. It was in observation, timing, and understanding. She approached him privately during a break. "Ethan," she said, "I want you to explain something to me. How do you do it? How do you stay so calm and effective?" He looked at her, thoughtful. "Humans are trained to survive, Princess. We do not rush. We do not panic. We act only when necessary. Fear can help if you control it. Silence is a weapon if you use it. Strength is more than muscles. It is patience, awareness, and timing. Alira nodded slowly. She felt a strange admiration. She had never met anyone like him before. He was quiet, calm, and unassuming, yet he had saved her life in ways that even the strongest aliens could not. Later, she spoke to her alien guards privately. "You must understand," she said firmly, "strength is not the only thing that matters. Humans are not weak. They are clever, patient, and capable of things we cannot always see. Today, I learned that the hard way." The guards murmured among themselves. Some were still doubtful, but they had seen the evidence. Humans could no longer be dismissed as weak or useless. Alira returned to her cabin that evening, thinking deeply. She realized that she had underestimated not just Ethan, but all of humanity. Their strength was subtle, quiet, and often invisible until tested. But when tested, it was unmatched. Ethan entered quietly as always. "Princess, are you well?" she nodded. "Yes, thanks to you. You showed me what humans are capable of. I understand now." He smiled slightly, calm and humble. "I only acted to protect, Princess. That is all. Humans do not seek glory. We act to ensure safety and survival." Alira nodded. "I see that now, and I respect you for it more than I can say." Ethan looked at her quietly, understanding her meaning without words. The trust between them had grown. She no longer saw him as weak. She no longer saw humans as fragile. She saw strength in ways she had never imagined. The next morning, Alira addressed the summit. She spoke of diplomacy, trade, and unity, but also of courage, intelligence, and strength. She told the delegates carefully about the human who had protected her. She did not exaggerate. She simply told the truth. Ethan stood quietly behind her as he always did. She did not need to introduce him or explain further. Everyone could see the respect she had for him, and everyone could see that humans were no longer to be underestimated. After her speech, many leaders approached her and Ethan. They asked questions. They wanted to understand how one human could do what 12 trained assassins could not. Ethan answered quietly, calmly, and without pride. His words were simple, but they carried weight. Alira watched him, feeling a deep gratitude. She had learned an important lesson. Strength was not only in the body, but also in the mind, in patience, in observation, and in courage. Humans possessed all of these qualities in ways that were often invisible until needed. That night, Alira looked out at the stars from her balcony. Ethan stood nearby, silent as always. She felt a quiet peace, knowing she was safe. And she felt respect and admiration for the human who had changed her understanding of the galaxy. "I underestimated you," she said softly, almost to herself. Ethan nodded. "Many do, Princess. Many always do, but actions speak louder than words." Alira smiled faintly. "You have proven that, Ethan, more than anyone could imagine." And for the first time, she truly saw him, not just as her escort, not just as a human, but as someone capable of extraordinary strength, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy had changed for her that day. Humans had proven that appearances could be deceiving, that quiet patience and intelligence could overcome even the greatest threats, and that one human could make the difference between life and death for an entire empire. And she would never forget it. The sun rose over the summit station, casting a soft golden light across the halls. Princess Alira walked through the main corridor, her steps steady and confident. Today was important. The summit was continuing, but she had another purpose in mind. She wanted everyone to know the truth, not just about the summit, but about the human who had saved her life. Ethan Cole followed quietly as always. He moved with calm purpose, his eyes scanning the room. The delegates, alien guards, and assistants passed by, busy with their own duties. No one noticed him, and that was exactly how he preferred it. He did not seek attention or glory. His work was to protect, and that was enough. Alira stopped near the main hall where hundreds of delegates were gathered. Her alien guards were ready, their weapons polished and eyes alert. She turned to Ethan. "Stay close," she said softly. "I want everyone to see something." He nodded. "As you wish, Princess." She took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform in the center of the hall. The chatter of delegates quieted as she raised her hand. The aliens from dozens of different planets all turned their attention to her. Her presence was commanding, regal, and impossible to ignore. "Leaders of the galaxy," she began, her voice clear and strong, "we have gathered here to discuss alliances, trade, and peace. But I must also speak of something unexpected." She paused, looking toward Ethan. "Something important that happened yesterday." Murmurs spread through the hall. Delegates leaned forward, curious. They had heard rumors of danger but knew nothing of the events that had taken place. She continued, "Yesterday, 12 trained assassins attempted to attack this summit. They were skilled, fast, and silent. They could have harmed many of us, and they could have ended this summit in disaster." Gasps filled the hall. Many delegates glanced at their guards, then back at the princess, confused and alarmed. Alira turned to Ethan. "This human," she said, "Ethan Cole, my personal escort, protected me and neutralized all 12 attackers. He did it alone, silently, and without causing harm to anyone else." The hall went quiet. Some delegates could not believe what they had heard. A single human had defeated 12 elite assassins, an impossible feat in their minds. One of the alien captains stepped forward. "This cannot be true," he said sharply. "Humans are weak, fragile. How could one of them defeat trained assassins alone?" Alira shook her head. "I understand your disbelief. I did as well. But it is true. Ethan is a human, and humans are not as weak as we once thought. He has shown courage, skill, and intelligence beyond expectation. He has proven that appearances can be deceiving, and that true strength is not only in size or weapons, but in patience, observation, and calm action." All eyes turned to Ethan. He stood quietly, hands at his sides, calm as always. He made no dramatic gestures, no boastful movements. He did not need to. His actions spoke louder than words. Some delegates looked at him with respect, others with disbelief, and a few with curiosity. They had always dismissed humans as weak, incapable, and unfit for the dangers of the galaxy. Now they had no choice but to reconsider. Alira continued, "We have often judged humans too quickly. We have underestimated them. But today I say to all of you, humans are capable, clever, and brave. They can survive where others might fail. They can protect when others cannot. And one human, Ethan Cole, has saved this summit and possibly countless lives." The delegates looked at each other in silence. Some whispered quietly, sharing the news with neighbors. Others stared in awe at Ethan, who remained calm, collected, and unassuming. He made no movements to draw attention, yet his presence was undeniable. One alien diplomat, a tall being with silver skin and piercing eyes, finally spoke. "If this is true, then humans must be treated with respect. If one human can accomplish this alone, then all humans are more capable than we have ever imagined." Alira nodded. "Exactly. Respect is due, and I hope from this day forward, humans will no longer be dismissed or underestimated." She stepped down from the platform and walked toward Ethan. "You have my thanks," she said softly, her eyes meeting his. "Not just for saving me, but for proving what humans can do. I am proud to have you as my escort." Ethan inclined his head. "Thank you, Princess. I only acted to protect you. That is my duty." Alira smiled faintly. She had once thought he was useless, weak, and ordinary. Now she knew the truth. Humans were quiet, clever, and capable of extraordinary things, and she had a newfound respect for him and for all of humanity. The summit continued throughout the day, but now humans were no longer ignored. Delegates approached Ethan to speak with him, asking questions about how humans trained, how they observed danger, and how they remained calm under threat. He answered quietly, simply, and without pride. His words carried wisdom. They spoke of patience, observation, and courage. Alira watched him from a distance, feeling admiration and trust. She realized that her pride in alien strength had once blinded her. Humans had strengths that could not always be seen, and she had underestimated them at her peril. Later, she spoke privately with her alien guards. "You must learn something important," she said firmly. "Strength is not only in weapons or muscles. Humans have skill, patience, and intelligence that can surpass even the strongest of us. Do not dismiss them. Learn from them. Respect them." The guards nodded, some reluctantly, some with curiosity. They had always believed aliens were superior, but now even they had to recognize the truth. Humans could act decisively, quietly, and efficiently. They could change the outcome of battles, even when outnumbered. That evening, Alira and Ethan walked along the outer deck of the station. The stars stretched endlessly around them, shining like diamonds in the black sky. She felt a deep sense of peace. The summit was safe. The threat was gone. And she had learned something that no amount of training or wealth could teach. "Ethan," she said softly, I owe you more than words can express. You have proven your worth and the worth of your people. I see now that humans are not to be underestimated." Ethan looked at her quietly. "I do not need thanks, Princess. I only do my duty, that is all," she smiled faintly. "Still, I am grateful, and I respect you, more than I have ever respected anyone." For the first time, she felt a deep connection with her escort. Not because he was human, but because he had shown her courage, skill, and loyalty beyond what she had imagined possible. She realized that strength could take many forms. Humans were quiet, patient, and clever, yet they could act decisively when it mattered most. The next day, the final sessions of the summit began. Alira walked proudly beside Ethan, and delegates now looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Some whispered to each other, noting the quiet strength of humans. Others marveled at the calm confidence he displayed. Alira addressed the summit one last time. "Let today be a reminder," she said, "that appearances can be deceiving. Strength comes in many forms, and we must not judge others too quickly. Humans have shown courage, intelligence, and skill. They have proven that even the smallest among us can accomplish extraordinary things." She looked at Ethan, who stood silently at her side. "This human, Ethan Cole, has saved this summit and shown us the truth. Let us respect humans and learn from them." Applause filled the hall. Delegates nodded, some smiling, some shaking their heads in disbelief, but all had understood the lesson. Humans were no longer weak. Humans could be heroes, protectors, and saviors. Later, Alira approached Ethan privately. "I want you to continue as my personal escort," she said. "Not just because I trust you, but because I value your skill, your judgment, and your presence. I want you with me always." Ethan bowed slightly. "I will remain by your side, Princess, always." She smiled, a real smile this time. "Then we will face the future together. You have proven that humans can do what others cannot, and I will make sure the galaxy sees it too." The summit concluded successfully. Alliances were strengthened, agreements were signed, and the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans were no longer dismissed as weak. They had shown courage, intelligence, and strength that could not be ignored. Alira stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Ethan was at her side, calm and steady. She felt a sense of security she had never known before. She had learned that true strength was not only in power, weapons, or numbers. True strength was patience, observation, courage, and action when it mattered most. Humans had shown that they possessed all of these qualities. And one human, Ethan Cole, had proven that even the quietest, simplest, and most underestimated individual could change the course of events for an entire empire. Alira looked at him and said softly, "You have earned my respect, Ethan, and the respect of everyone here." I will not forget it," Ethan simply nodded. "Thank you, Princess, that is enough." The stars outside shone brightly. The galaxy had changed. humans had proven themselves. And Princess Alira knew, without doubt, that one quiet, clever, and courageous human could make all the difference, and she would never underestimate them again.